This is the High School Crossfire. Welcome back.
Thank you so much, the jury, to antagonistic bodies and the August House at large. My name is Kugonzo Kotri, the second speaker from Team Affirmative. Now, first and foremost, our first speaker came and said, she pointed out and quite listed the reasons as to why we literally have to bring or revise the thing of the reason as to why we have to revise the legislation of the minimum wage that is given to people. Now, first and foremost, she spoke about financial stress. And this is what I want us to know, that when somebody is financially stressed, it's going to literally lead to mental instability, which mental instability is going to reduce in their working performance. Therefore, that is why we are having very many cases that people come in shooting different people, not simply even because they are literally not trained, but simply because they are financially stressed and mentally unstable. Number two, there's going to be labor exploitation. Why? Because somebody is literally, they are comfortable that, okay, they've spoke about 130,000, but let us go into this logically, Jury. I want us to understand this. If somebody is paid 130,000 and they have 6 children at their home, is that really enough to really finance their entire homestead? Obviously not, and that is what they have literally failed to understand. And there's also we also spoke about there's going to be a reduction in income inequality. We literally in Uganda's current status quo, we are having a very big gap between the rich and the poor. Accepted?
Do you know that in countries where a minimum wage legislation exists, it has not solved the problem of income inequalities?
That is according to that country, but in the way that we are going to revise this, it's literally going to solve the problem at hand. Why? Because we are literally, this is what I'm talking about. Because she said, our first speaker came and said that we are literally not to simply going to set the minimum wage legislation, but rather we are setting it basing on the living costs of the country of the particular year. The reason as to why we are going to set the wage legislation cap or the minimum wage legislation according to the living status of the country, because in the budget of Uganda, each and every year the government or the people that are in charge of the budget of Uganda, they set the costs of living of that particular country. Meaning that if we are setting this minimum cost or this minimum legislation cost, we are literally setting it in accordance to the people, to the income that people are earning. Let us look at this, jury. We are living in a country where you can imagine somebody earns less than $1 in a day, and according to the economy of the world, if somebody is able, the moment somebody is able to feed, they are supposed to earn something more than or equal to $1. Meaning if somebody is earning less than $1, they are literally not even able to sustain 3 meals a day. Is that the economy we are starting to work for? That is why we come in with a better house and a better case, saying that this is going to stop, number one, financial stress, which literally leads to people shooting one another. And then another thing is labor exploitation. Meaning labor exploitation. First and foremost, let's look for the current case of Minister Charles Engola. The person that shot him literally not shoot him of anything else, but simply because he was financially stressed, which led to his mental instability. And at the end of the day, he ended up shooting his boss. Why? Because he was not paid. Why? Because even when the money he was paid to him, the money was too little that it could not sustain him. For God's sake, we are speaking about men who have families, men in uniform, men who are people to look at, men who have families to look after. We are looking in a country where people have to look after their children. At the end of the day, if you do not pay these people, or if we literally pay these people and we are settled with 130,000 they spoke about, we are going to throw ourselves into a ditch of simply being comfortable with 130,000 that cannot even sustain somebody for 30 days, which are 30 or 31 days that are literally in 1 month. That simply calls us to that we should revise this. If it has been 130,000, we are going to pay you, or your boss is going to pay you in accordance to your work and in accordance to what you are doing, in accordance to your post and in accordance to the efforts that you're employing. Because if we do not do this, as we said before, it's going to lead to labor exploitation. Some people are going to begin being redundant. You are redundant simply because it's 130,000. Even when your client comes and tells you, or when your employee comes and tells you, you know what, boss, I need an increment on such and such this because my family has faced and this problem. They are simply going to come and say the money was set is simply 130,000. We cannot increase it. That is why we come to revise this, because there is necessity of it. People are dying each and every day. There's gun violation. Why? Because people are financially stressed. People are the labor that we have in Uganda is exploited. And I think we're having a lot of income inequality. Why? There's a big gap between the rich and the poor, which you have to solve by literally revising what I'm talking about today. I rest my case by saying we stand to win this debate. Thank you.
My name is Nabiaka Rebecca from Ourlady of Africa, SS Mukono. I'll begin by rebutting the points of the first speaker from the affirmers. She gave an example of a man who is paid low compared to his boss. Shouldn't we increase the salaries? Then how is the minimum wage? Secondly, she said, how is the minimum wage going to improve their conditions? At what rate of extent is the minimum wage legislation the major cause? She said workers are exploited, leading to suicide. Do you have evidence showing it. It is the major cause. No, you don't. And the second affirmer said, mental illness due to lack of minimum wage, yet it is caused by due to post-traumatic disorders. That was her first point. Secondly, she said income inequalities. Did you know that income inequalities will exist even with a minimum wage legislation? No, I believe you don't, because it will increase the pay of the incoming, and the high income, it will the pay of the low incoming, and the high incoming will get increase of the payment. We stand here as the Uganda police. Reason being, it is viral. It's a viral security. Our strategy is the major cause. The major causes other than lack of minimum wage leading to suicide and gun violence. Back to my point, lack of minimum wage legislation is not the major cause. If it is implemented, it will lead to an economic depression. How? Minimum wage leads to economic depression in a way that it favors people of higher ranks affecting the low ranks. Do you believe it? I believe you don't. Thirdly, the major causes are mental illness. The major causes are mental illness. Many of these men in uniform are mentally ill due to post-traumatic disorders. These are these are the very people who end up committing suicide and gun violence. Do you believe it? I expect you to be believing it, because never understood some points. Secondly, big salary differences. Here we realize that the bodyguards are earning very low. I am coming from a family that is very poor. I am driving a minister who is earning something and the guy is spending money extravagantly, whereby he can't even give it to me, whereby I would end up using it for my family. Yet you're taking someone to a very expensive hotel, a very expensive supermarket, yet the person is expending the money extravagantly. Why wouldn't he give me that money? And also unemployment. People who attend training and don't have jobs end up misusing these ways, misusing their weapons. I believe you understand what I'm talking about. If you don't, sorry. Neglect of security equipment. People don't care about their gadgets, hence easily being stolen and misused. For example, imagine a fellow officer goes and gets the other officer's gun and uses it for shooting another person. The fact that the government, of course, has already registered all the guns and all the equipment won't remain the fact that they will know someone went on and got the other friend's gadget and used it for me and misused it. Would you believe it or not? I expect you to believe it. I really expect you to understand what we're really talking about, because if you understood the motion, I never expected you to be talking about what you talked about. Because I come here strongly and firmly telling you the fact that the major causes aren't the same. It isn't only not the major causes are not only because of the what, are not the mental, are not the other things are from giving us here. With that, I rest my case.
This is the High School Crossfire. We'll be back in a minute.